Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Prove All Things. And no, I am not your regular host. Um, your regular host is John Welch. You might know me as, I don't know, Poncho, the Minion. What other names, endearing names, have I been called? I've been called Igor, something like that. Anyway, my name is David Welch. And as I said, John Welch is simply unavailable tonight. It has been a whirlwind of a day around here. And uh, John Welch, who is your regular host, um, his aunt has become ill and had to be taken to the hospital this afternoon. And that, as a matter of fact, is where he is currently. It sort of was an emergency situation where he just simply needed to be there with her. He's been dealing with a lot of things like that lately. And so he asked me to cancel the show tonight and let everybody know. Well, I thought that I would just simply take the show over hostage. But I'm, of course, not going to be able to do that. I haven't been able to study near the way I would like to for this kind of show and have questions available and ready. So I'm sorry. But I thought of a few things to say. I don't think this will take very long. Um, and I didn't want to get you disappointed because I know that we've been off the air now for a couple weeks with things that I have going on because I sort of, I guess you could say, I produce the show. So when I'm not here, it's not really going to happen because, well, whatever. I know how to operate better online than John does. My father, by the way. I'm not used to calling him John, so sorry. Um, but anyway, I wanted to reassure you that Prove All Things is still running, that we are still getting questions, that we would love for you to email us. I believe it's proveallthings at comcast.net, I believe. And of course, you can call in your questions locally here at 317 257 3000. I'm wiggling my chair too much, I just noticed. I'm not used to this chair. You can also reach us on our Facebook page at Prove All Things. This is brought to you by the High School Road Church of Christ here in Indianapolis, Indiana. We meet at 3103 North High School Road. And I think those are the matter of announcements that usually need to be made prior to the show beginning. I do have a question here that I thought I'll do my best to answer. This question is from Michaela, and she asks, let me see if I get this right. She asks a simple question, or at least I think it's simple. Why did God create animals? Why did God create animals? Well, I'm not by any means in the mind of God. I don't know why he created animals. But I do read in the Bible, and I want you to look with me if you can. Oh, if I can get it back up here and running. Here we go. In Genesis, the first chapter, okay, this is where God created everything, including the world. He created the sky. He created the stars, the sun, you, me, and the animals. And it says here And I'm sorry if I'm taking my eyes off the video. I'm reading here on my other screen. In verse 12 of chapter 1. No, let me keep going here. Oh, let's see. Okay. Look at this. Well, let's go to verse 20. And God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that hath life, and the fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. And God created great whales, and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters and the seas, and let fowl multiply in the earth. And the evening and the morning were the fifth day. So we read here in our scripture that on the fifth day, God created all of the animals, the whales, the fish, the fowl, the birds, and all the creatures on the earth. But more importantly than that, if you read the scripture, at the end of it, it says, and God saw that it was good. I think that means that God liked what he had created, what he saw. And I think that's important to notice. Why did God create animals? I think he wanted us to enjoy something that he made. I think he saw that it was good. And it even says that he blessed them, that he blessed the animals. And I think that's the best answer I'm going to be able to give you, Michaela. I don't know if I did you justice. And I will be sure and pass on your question to John, and maybe he can answer it much better than I can tonight. Now, sorry, I'm having to read the chat too, just in case there's anybody chatting on here, which there's not, so good, nobody's watching. Okay, I wanted to relate one thing before I close the show. And I want you to think about this, because when it happened to me, it struck a major chord in me. And I've been thinking about it now for 2 days. And I want to share it with you here tonight. On Sunday, I, with my family, and I think a lot of you, go to church. We go to church. Hopefully, we go to church Sunday morning, and we're able to go Sunday night. And when we go to church, we dress up. We want to show respect for God. I believe that's why we dress nicely. We try to dress as nice as possible as we can. And I think that can be shown to a lot of people. So on Sunday night, when I went to my car, I was walking outside. I was getting ready to load up in the car, in the van in this case. And there was a father and daughter walking. It was a young girl. She was probably my child's age, which is about 3-4 years old. And the little girl looked up to her father. She saw me. She saw my children starting to go out to the church. And of course, my children were dressed nicely too. And I think that caught this little girl's attention. And she looked up to her dad and she said, "Dad, what are they doing?" As if it was completely unknown to her. as to what was happening on the first day of the week. It was as if it was completely unknown. And her father kind of looked at me funny. He looked at me like I had done something wrong. He looked down at his girl, at his daughter, I believe it was his daughter, and he said, "Honey, it doesn't matter. Just move along." I heard that, I'm not deaf, contrary to some people's belief. I heard that. I heard what the father said to his daughter. I suppose I could have made a scene. I could have told that man, "Hey, we're going to church. Don't you know?" But I think the problem was he did know. I think the problem was he did know, and he didn't want to broach the subject with his daughter. Now, why do I go to church? Does going to church, better yet, does following the Bible matter? And that's what Prove All Things is all about. Honestly, that's what this program is all about. Week to week, we have John Welch here. He's the preacher at High School Road. He preaches there, and he's the host. And he, with a panel of preachers, will come with your questions ready at hand, ready to answer it from the scripture. And I believe every single one of them, all these preachers that we've had on through the years, all of them would say, "Oh, it does matter. It is important." And it hurts that little girl will grow up thinking, "I guess it doesn't matter. My dad said." But it does matter. And I wanted to relay, before I quit tonight, I wanted to relay one scripture. You can bet that I'm probably going to write an article about this because it struck such a chord with me. And usually, I know I'm totally silent on the program. I hate being seen, but Dad asked me to cancel the show, and well, like I said, I'm just gonna take it over. If you've got a Bible nearby, I want you to turn to Hebrews, the 12th chapter, verse 1. Verse 1. And I want you to look at that, and I'm going to read it to you. "Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which doth so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us, looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of God." I wonder if it truly matters to God whether or not you're doing right in his sight. We have such a great cloud of witnesses. We have the scripture. We have answers from that scripture. And every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. and any time during the day or night that you think about it, you can reach Prove All Things. You can ask those Bible questions. Because yes, ladies and gentlemen, it does matter. Thank you. And I want you to have a good night. We'll see you next week, Tuesday at 7 o'clock. Have a good week.